abortion. I think we should be talking about abortion. It's a controversial subject, but I don't think that means we shouldn't talk about it. So I'm just here today to try to give you like the facts about it and tell you about it. I know you see this cross right here, so you think you know what I'm going to say about it. Maybe you do, but there's probably some things about it that you don't know that I'm going to say. I might just surprise you a little bit. So stay in it. We're going to find out about abortion today. So number one, it's called abortion. The name abortion, it means to end something, right? In the movies, when they're like on a mission, they're like, we need to abort the mission, abort. It means to end. So what is it ending? Well, we say it's ending a pregnancy, right? That's like what a lot of people say. And it is ending a pregnancy, but what is a pregnancy? We have to go deeper. A pregnancy is, when a mother has a child within her, whether this mother is an animal mother or a human mother, they have their next generation within them. And so if you're a human, then you have a human inside of you because that's the next generation. And so you're ending the life of a human. But abortion has this word, kind of covers that up a little bit. And I can't tell you how many millions of dollars have been spent just to kind of cover that up, to implement using the word abortion in advertisements and this and that and the other, and to not go into the details of what abortion actually is, to make it feel awkward to talk about abortion, this and that. Let's go into history a little bit. So there's this thing called infanticide, and I'm going to argue that abortion is infanticide, and you're probably going to disagree with me, so I'll talk more about it. But infanticide is the killing of an infant, child, baby, and it is very popular throughout all of human history, right? You have the classic example of like the ancient Greeks putting a baby up on the mountain when they don't want it and letting it die. So why did people commit infanticide? It sounds like a very bad thing. Well, as always, we have reasons, and they're not good reasons. First reason that people committed infanticide was because they were not ready for a child, whether they had engaged in sexual indulgence. Many pagan ceremonies involved sexual indulgence, and then you got pregnant, and then you weren't ready for a child, or you might not have been ready for a child financially, you might have been poor, and that is a very hard thing that is still not right to have infanticide in that case. Number two reason why infanticide happened was because, I'm forgetting my own video. Number two reason for infanticide. Okay. The second reason for infanticide was because they were deformed, right? The infant was not fully formed or this or that, or it was weak, and so it's just not seen as being able to live. And I also think that's a bad reason for infanticide. And the third reason was direct sacrifice to pagan gods, or as I would just call them, the demons, right? We have Moloch, the god we hear about in the Old Testament, who is this god in modern-day Palestine. The people worshipped him. He was like a metal god on fire, and he was very hot, and so the people would offer a baby, they'd set him on there, and they'd sacrifice the baby to the god for whatever it is, crops in their field, or this or that, fertility, I don't know. That'd be weird to sacrifice, kill your own baby for fertility. But anyways, the three reasons, recap, for infanticide are: number one, because they were not ready for a baby, whether that was because they had sexual indulgence when they weren't ready, or they were not financially ready. Number two, because of deformities of the baby. And number three, because just sacrificing to demons. Now, just so many cultures practice infanticide. I have a list of it, but it's ancient Greece, Phoenicians, ancient China, Native Americans, Native Alaskans, early modern Europe, pre-Islamic Arabia, basically the whole Christian world. Now, yeah, you heard that right. In the Middle East, when Christianity popped up, basically all these places that have been having infanticide, they had to stop because Constantine was, when he was emperor and when he became Christian, he made it an outlaw to have, infanticide, and the culture eventually became more Christian, and they thought infanticide was wrong. Now, what will maybe surprise you, it did surprise me, was when I looked up the history of infanticide, I looked up the history of abortion, and it said virtually all cultures in society have had abortion. Ancient Egypt, Rome, ancient Greece, I wrote it down, but the Native Americans, they used sycamore. I learned that in my forestry class, they used sycamore for abortions. But basically, all these ancient cultures, they used some kind of plant. The internet said the plant was an herbal remedy, but more like an herbal toxin because it's killing, not healing anything. Or they used physical pressure, is what the internet said, which is actually, if it's going to kill something, it's got to be pretty strong if it's a baby's like late term. So pressing on the mother's stomach, even like metal spikes have been used, inserted into the womb, this and that, and the other, and they are graphic things to talk about, but that's what happened. So I think I should talk about what truly happened. So abortion, which is just infanticide inside the womb, I would argue, has happened for all of history. So why is this kind of this idea that abortion is kind of this new modern technology that has been, it's more acceptable, but it's like controversial, but it shouldn't be controversial because, it's a woman's right. Why is it like this new thing that's kind of separated from history? Well, I mean, in abortion, like nowadays, like, and in the past, but we focus on nowadays, like you can't see the baby, right? Like in general, like it happens inside the womb. Well, you actually can see the baby, first of all. So when doctors perform late term abortions, they have like the ultrasound going. They don't show the mother the ultrasound. They have the ultrasound going so they can see where the baby's head is, because they have to crush the baby's head so that they can fit the rest of the baby through the mother. Or if it's like a little bit earlier, they have a vacuum, they still have to see where the baby is. Or if the mother takes a pill, then, she takes a pill, 2 pills actually. The first pill like cuts the baby off from the mother, and the second pill expels the baby out, but basically like giving birth. And the mother sees the dead baby that she's given birth to, often very small, but often covered in blood, often very disturbing, and in her own house, and it has caused many women to, feel very bad, PTSD, things like that when they go to the bathrooms, because that happened in your house, and that's very traumatizing. Even if like you felt like you needed it, it's still like gonna scar you forever. And so, yeah, it turns out you can still see babies in abortion, but a lot of the public that will never get an abortion just can't see the baby, and so they think that, maybe it's fine. Another thing why abortion is kind of controversial instead of just not accepted in today's society is that people think it's necessary. That's what ancient society also thought. The big reason, obviously, is financially. I mean, that's very hard to support a child if you weren't ready for that, or I sincerely understand the struggle. Like, I personally donate money to try to support women, and I personally volunteer at a clinic to try to help women. But I also understand that since I'm not in that situation, I can't fully be completely empathetic to the situation, but I can still say that I think it is wrong to kill the baby in that situation. Financially, yeah. Also, our today's culture, we promote sex a lot, and it's just kind of commonplace. And obviously, sex does result in babies. That is biologically what happens. And sure, there's a natural woman's cycle. Sure, there's birth control, but the cycle can be unpredictable. Birth control fails, and when it fails, a lot of abortions are actually just failed birth control. So it's gonna happen at some point. You will get pregnant, and that's what ancient societies had in their pagan rituals, and that's what we have today is sex and then babies getting an abortion. That's very unfortunate. We also have aborting babies that were deformed in the womb, right? They have some kind of illness, and a lot of the argument for that is that the baby is, going to suffer a lot in this world, and so we should not kill the baby. Well, I think that we're all going to suffer a lot in this world. I'm going to suffer, and I'm not healthy perfectly. I'm thankfully a very healthy person, but I still have mental health struggles. I have this and that and the other, and everyone else has struggles. I can think of 20 people that have it a lot harder than me. Life is just going to involve pain. I think it's very compassionate to try to avoid pain for people, but not at the expense of killing them or not letting them experience life. Because I would argue that even if they do experience pain, or they're, a burden because they are deformed or have a handicap or disablement, they still have value as a human being. Their value is in them and not in their ability to do something or to live a painless life. They have value without needing to be killed. And so while it does come from a place of trying to be compassionate, it is a false compassion, whether the person intends that or not. And the final reason, again, that I said with abortion, which is the same as infanticide for all 3 of these reasons, by the way, is sacrificing to demons, right? Believe it or not, there are still people today that worship demons or worship pagan gods and sacrifice their children. Even in the United States of America, there are people that sacrifice their babies to Satan. There is a satanic abortion clinic. There are actual places where this happens. Now, it sounds crazy, but that's legitimate. And, over and over again, people like Planned Parenthood will try to spend millions of dollars to show that they are kind, compassionate. You know, they're not sitting around there wearing goats' heads and being satanic, and they're just there to help with health and be scientific. No, scientifically, it's a human life, and health-wise, you're killing someone, so that is not good. So, I guess, kind of in conclusion, like abortion, it is infanticide. Has the same reasons behind it. You know, when you're not ready for a child, when the child is deformed, or for a demonic ritual to kill a child. And yeah, there are a lot of hard situations out there. I would say that this video is most especially just for people that are arguing with the idea of abortion being okay. I'm not like specifically like addressing you if you've had an abortion, because I understand that's a very like hard experience. It's still wrong, but I'm not trying to cut at people that are like emotionally traumatized. I'm not trying to like be a meanie. I'm just trying to like kind of explain it. And you might say that I'm biased. You might say that I'm a far right extremist. You might say like, if you justify being pro-life, how can you also justify, like, as a far right person, like, how can you justify killing civilians in Palestine? How can you justify like hurting the environment, or not caring for the poor, or like supporting violence from ICE? And I would say that I do not support those things. I'm in fact Catholic. I do not associate with the Republican Party. You know, I don't associate either way. Like, I was just trying to give an unbiased opinion that abortion is infanticide. So, I mean, that's what I got. I love you. I'm praying for you. I hope that you have a good day. And I hope that this video taught you something, or at least showed you that I'm a respectable human being with pro-life views. Have a good day.